Here's the thing. For everybody listening, don't make the same mistake the Bengals just did in any facet of your life.
People are going to get hurt. It's the hockey season. And if they want to make the deep run to the playoffs, they're going to need players. And Ben Hutton's a good defenseman that can help.
I don't think they will. If they don't have Anthony Davis, I'm saying it right now, if Anthony Davis is out for the playoffs, they don't make it out of the first round.
I was very tempted to just put defense.
What about the Jared Cook play on the sideline? And then Mason Crosby's 55-yard field goal or something like that. That was a good one.
Come on, Austin and I've been saying this ever since Joe Burrow got injured.
I just do not see Harden putting in the same amount of effort into each game. Yeah, I honestly believe that's why he hasn't won a championship yet.
That's a perfect name. What you said, name brand players. Like, it's not the great value Target brand toilet paper or whatever. It's the Charmin Ultra Strong.
I swear we didn't script that.
Fultz is injured and he really hasn't lived up to the potential of being the number one overall pick when he was selected by the Sixers.
Like you said, Ovechkin, he's getting older. He hasn't been playing as well as I imagined. He's one of the greatest goal scorers of all time, but he hasn't started off this season as hot as I would hope.
How is Joe Burrow going to get the ball to them if his butt is already on the ground when he finally decides who to throw to?
I don't really think the Dodgers are going to make the World Series this year. I feel like they'll make it to the NLCS.
And then I want to talk about the Fernando Tatis extension because that really surprised me. Because he's so young. You see the Chiefs beefing up their O-line, and then you have the Buccaneers beefing up their defensive line.
Ingrained in the life of Tom Brady and what winning actually looks like, I think will be a very good move for Bruce Arians and this Bucs organization.
Hi, I'm Jeff Allen, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our USFL Opinions of the Week. Today we'll be going over the standings and do we think after a year and what happens in the playoffs, do we think the USFL makes some changes? I would probably say yes, given by how it is now. The Generals and Stars would make it from the North Division and the Stallions and Breakers would make it to the playoffs as well. And then they would face off and then go to the championship. But Tampa Bay Bandits have the same record as the Philadelphia Stars, and then there's a huge drop off in the North Division. So Austin and I were talking about it. Would you just do like top four overall, or maybe do it a different way? And maybe do we see them expand the playoffs? And maybe they would probably have to expand teams. Do you think they expand teams, or do you think they stay with this set of teams for a little bit longer?
I definitely think they stay with this for at least a couple more seasons. But I do think that they should definitely look at, hey, whether or not we should do top four. Because think about it, they're all playing in Birmingham. There is no South and North, even though they have South and North divisions. They should probably just do it where the top four teams make the playoffs because the Bandits have the short end of the stick of being in a much harder division than the Stars. So while the Generals are definitely a team that should make it, the Stars and Bandits, I think whoever has a better record after the playoffs come around, or at least a better head-to-head record, should make it, even though that probably won't happen.
Yeah, I agree. With the Gamblers, it just stinks for them. I was thinking maybe we see them move the divisions around, like, hey, let's do this. Or I had an idea, but I got rid of it. But man, I really am mad I can't remember. Because you have like you said, the South Division is tough. The Stallions are incredible and the Breakers are doing well, while the Bandits 3-3, they're 500. But that would make them third in the North, and they would have a better chance of making the top in the North. But I was wondering if you see them like jumble up the divisions, like, hey, let's switch this around so then you don't have 2 1-5 teams in one division or something like that. I really can't remember what I was thinking. But we can talk about what do you think much changes for the playoff teams for this season?
Yeah, so they may jumble up the divisions while they stay in Birmingham while they're still trying to figure out where they're going to play next year. But obviously, when that happens, they're going to have to stay with these divisions because Birmingham, New Orleans, Tampa, and Houston aren't really all that far apart comparatively to Michigan, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and New Jersey. But it just it is weird seeing how it is with two 1-5 teams and three of the 8 teams in general being 1-5. There's only 3 teams above 500, 3 teams below 500, and 2 teams that are at 500, and that could obviously change this week with some games. But the playoffs could definitely show out and be a good experience or not. We'll have to see. A lot of these teams are really close in record, but it's still early in the season, in my opinion. Even though there's 10 games, 6 games in, you can't really tell like is one team going to dominate because the Stallions could end up 6-4. They could lose their next 4 games, or a team like the Bandits could end up 7-3. A team that's 3-3 right now could finish above those teams. So while I think all the 1-5 teams are practically out, I wouldn't be surprised necessarily if we see a 3-3 team or somebody pass because it's still early in the year.
That's true. So I think we can both agree the Stallions are going to definitely make the playoffs. Same thing with the Generals and the Stars. Um, I think the one playoff spot that's really open is between the Breakers and Bandits because they're relatively close, unless the Stallions totally fall apart and or the Panthers or Maulers change it up. And the other team just does terrible. But I think the race is between the Breakers and the Bandits. Who do you think ends up in the battle if we do a way too far prediction?
Well, I definitely think it's going to be the Breakers. This week, the Generals play the Bandits, so that's probably a loss for the Bandits, even though I could see them pulling out a win. And the Breakers this week play against the Panthers. So the Breakers playing a 1-5 team, the Bandits playing a 5-1 team, that sets them further apart. So it's going to be a tough road to the playoffs for both of these teams. But because of the 1 game difference, I definitely think the Breakers have enough of an advantage to hold on.
So I'm gonna disagree with you there. I'm gonna pick the Tampa Bay Bandits. I think they're gonna turn around, and I had them making the playoffs and winning the championship. So I'm just gonna keep hope alive for them. So that's who I'm gonna be pick them, and I'm very interested to see how playoffs work for the USFL, and I think maybe that's something we see changed. Like, would you have the Generals face uh, the Breakers if the Breakers have a worse record than the Stars, or like the Stallions since they have a better record? Um, would you want to mix divisions before the final, or have them same division before the final?
Um, right now they have it set towards same division. I don't really know how I would do that. I guess right now I'd keep it how it is until they did top four because it'd be kind of weird if they didn't do top four in general and then mixed it up because then why are you mixing it up in the first place? But if they did top four, so maybe 3 of one division could make it, then yeah, I would jumble it up so that it wouldn't make one team have to play the same division if they're the better team. So uh, there's a lot of change, and that's what I like about it. There's a lot of fluidity. Much can change in the coming weeks or months. It's a learning period for the USFL. They're finally getting back into it, and I do think they're on the rise.
Yeah, and did you see what the Michigan Panthers did this week?
You talking about trading Shea Patterson?
I thought they just cut him. I
Oh,
didn't know if
well,
they
they
traded
may
him.
have cut him because I know the Breakers picked him up.
Okay, yeah, I think Shea Patterson was cut,
Got it.
and that was their first pick. So that was very surprising. And then Bo Scarborough, has
Bo
been a really
Scarborough.
yeah Scarborough. I know the name reminded me, and I had to look it up, but he was on the Cowboys, and he's an Alabama running back.
Got it.
So that's crazy how he's tearing it up. But we'll definitely keep you updated. I'm excited to see how the playoffs look for the USFL and what they do in the following season. That's all we got, and thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.